There's approximately 12 games remaining in the league, so today I decided to look at how the top signings are doing so far on the job. That's right, a regrade of the top signings from every team in the Premier League. All the top signings from last summer's 2024-25 transfer window. To start things off, we got Dominic Solanke. Solanke was brought in with some big shoes to fill following the sale of Harry Kane. So far, he has 7 goals and 3 assists across 20 appearances. His expected goals per 90 is 0.47, which is lower than his spells at both Liverpool and Bournemouth. It's underwhelming compared to what he was doing with Bournemouth last season. He's an aerial threat and he can finish quite well, and that's pretty much it with Solanke. If Tottenham wanted to go all out on the striker, there were much better options than Solanke, so I give this signing a B-. Leny Yoro. This signing triggered mixed reactions from fans because it was a race between United and Real Madrid to sign him. But United paid the price that Madrid was unwilling to pay. He's missed a lot of games this season with injury, but from what I've seen, I'm quite impressed with his composure and passing ability. There's lots of promise with this kid, and it looks like United have their centre-backs for the future between Yoro and Aiden Heaven. B+. Pedro Neto. Personally, I was quite excited about this signing. He's an explosive winger, very direct and comfortable with the ball at his feet and dribbling. So far this season, he has 3 goals and 4 assists across 26 appearances, which at first seemed underwhelming. But you have to look deeper, because when you look deeper and look at his minutes, no other winger besides Cole Palmer at Chelsea is receiving more minutes than Pedro Neto, which means that Maresca obviously values Pedro Neto ahead of Noni Madueke, Jadon Sancho and Nkunku, and of course Raheem Sterling and João Felix that were loaned out. There's still potential for growth. He could do a lot better with his finishing and scoring production, but it's a decent signing. B. Amadou Onana. This move made a lot of sense for Aston Villa. Onana does a bit of everything in the midfield for them, both offensively and defensively, and he proved that he's capable of doing this consistently during his 2 seasons at Everton. And on the big stage, like for Belgium, alongside Youri Tielemans at the Euros, he's a disruptor, and it complements really well in the midfield with Tielemans and his more creative style of play. He's strong in the air, and his tackling is pretty good. A-. Max Kilman. West Ham were quite bad defensively last season, so they required defensive reinforcement. This season, their defense is much better, conceding fewer goals. Kilman gets very consistent playing time. Just 1 game he was subbed out against Southampton, which is testament to his talent as a central defender. They're still not impressive defensively as a team, but they're better. I'll give him a B+. Georginio Rutter. Brighton signed centre-forward Georginio Rutter from France to add more depth to their attack, competing times with João Pedro and Danny Welbeck. So far, he has 5 goals and 3 assists in 28 Premier League appearances and has showcased his ability as a dynamic forward. He dribbles well and likes to cut inside, which is great for attacking combination. He's shown that he's capable of picking out a pass, but at times he does find himself offside. It's an area of improvement as well as his passing, but overall, there's a lot of talent and potential with Rutter. They invested 40 million in Rutter, but knowing Brighton will probably be gone anytime soon, so they obviously see long-term value return on their investment. So I'll give this an A-. Riccardo Calafiori. The amount of hype this signing got, you think that Arsenal signed Maldini, but in all seriousness, you add Arsenal's #1 defense from last season and a versatile defender who can pass, dribble and tackle. I get it. So far, he's been in and out of the starting lineup with 17 league appearances due to injuries. But when he plays, Arsenal is significantly better in attack and defense. I think a B grade is fair, considering his limited playing time. Next, we've got Elliot Anderson. This was a surprising transfer if you're a Newcastle fan because A, he's a young central midfielder with lots of talent and potential, and B, Newcastle originally had no interest in selling him. He was a midfielder for their future, but financial constraints with PSR and FFP forced the transfer. But anyway, this season he's experienced more playing time than he ever did at Newcastle. 6 assists, 1 goal across 28 appearances. He's in the top percentiles for defending, passing, touches and assisted goals. The only real weakness is his passing completion. But overall, he's an exciting midfielder for Forest and he's exceeded expectations. So he's an A-. Evanilson. Evanilson was signed to be the first choice striker at Bournemouth. On paper, he does look like he has the talent to be a key goal scorer for them. He can hold on to the ball really well, finish, pass. But what's more impressive at this point is his work rate, because his stats aren't impressive. 6 goals across 22 appearances, a conversion rate of 13.04%, and scoring 1 goal every 244 minutes. I'm being very generous here in giving him a B+ grade. If his stats were better, it's an automatic A grade, but he's one to watch going into next season. Lewis Hall has established himself as a primary left-back for Newcastle after transferring from Chelsea as a graduate, but he has the versatility to play in central midfield. 27 appearances before his season-ending injury in February, 5 assists is impressive. He crosses at an elite level, blocks and passes well. As a 20-year-old, there's lots of promise, but also a lot of uncertainty as to whether he can cope consistently with the physicality of the Premier League. If he's injury prone, how can he complete his full development as a left back? C+. I want to give Igor Thiago an A-, but just 4 appearances in the league. He's elite in the air. His finishing and link-up play is elite, and he defends really well for a striker. He looked great in pre-season. He's big, physical, and a solid finisher. 32 touches in his Premier League debut against Newcastle. Won 3 aerial duels and played 1 key pass. Nothing resulted in a goal and assist, but his activity in Brentford's attack is a positive sign. The weakness is he's holding on to the ball. He could be a lot better, but he's 23, 6'3". There's a lot of promise with Igor Thiago based on what he's already accomplished in his career. I'm excited to see what he can do once healthy because his skill set translates quite well to Brentford and the Premier League. Emile Smith-Rowe. This season for Fulham, Emile Smith-Rowe currently has 5 goals and 2 assists for Fulham across 26 appearances. Believe it or not, this is his best season in the Premier League since his time at Arsenal in 2022. He's just never been the guy to fill up a stat sheet, but what he's showing with the increased game time is his versatility in midfield. Primarily at Fulham, he is deployed as an attacking midfielder, which suits his passing, shooting, and ability to hold on to the ball. Sometimes he's using the wing, but he struggles crossing the ball accurately into the box. But overall, he's a regular starter for Fulham and appears to be a decent fit, so I'll give it a B+. Giorgi Mamardashvili. This is a player that I can't fairly assess because he's currently out on loan to Valencia. That's 1. And 2, I don't like how he was trying to fight Vinny after his own fan base behind the goal were racist. But anyway, he was signed by Liverpool to be their goalkeeper for the future, and it's a great investment for a 24-year-old with tremendous size and length. His kicking distance is amongst the best, and he's been one of the top goalkeepers in La Liga. They're one of the worst teams at La Liga, which has required much more of him. There's a lot of ability. He excels quite well with penalty saving. His long pass requires improvement, especially from the Premier League, and stopping crosses, but he's a well-established young goalkeeper with lots of promise, soon to join more officially a Liverpool side with a strong defensive unit. Eddie Nketiah. This is a strange one because Arsenal fans know very well Nketiah's ability in terms of finishing, holding on to the ball. He's a threat on the counter-attack. But this season for Crystal Palace, 1 goal, 1 assist, 7 starts, and 20 league appearances. That's disappointing, especially when you consider that his only competition in playing time is Jean-Philippe Mateta. He's not receiving playing time. He's not scoring when he does play. He continues to prove the critics right. I'm being extremely generous in giving him a C+. Savinho. I thought this signing made a lot of sense for City. They needed attacking depth to survive another season. Very comfortable with the ball at his feet because at the time, Jeremy Doku was the only real dribbler in the team, not fake dribbler Jack Grealish. The only players ahead of him in terms of minutes are Bernardo Silva and Foden, but he has more starts than Foden, more assists than Foden and Silva, but just 1 goal so far this season. Already at 20, he's made a positive impact on Man City. He has exciting potential. It's quite easy to love at City now that they're struggling, but this team is rebuilding for the future. City aren't going anywhere anytime soon. A-. Omari Hutchinson, former Arsenal and Chelsea academy graduate. He's an attacking midfielder with lots of promise. His dribbling and long shooting ability is impressive. He's a regular starter for Ipswich, but not quite yet a finished product. Still struggles crossing and hold on to the ball, and often commits fouls. So far this season, he has 3 goals and 2 assists across 26 appearances. They paid a hefty fee to secure him with the hope that he would improve under their system. He also took a risk leaving Chelsea for more playing time, which should hopefully aid his development more efficiently in the long run. So for now, I'll give this signing a B. Oliver Skipp joined from Tottenham to bolster Leicester's defensive midfield, but they're the second worst defensive team in the league. He only has 7 starts for the team, 16 appearances, barely plays. He really doesn't provide any value to the team, and this team is facing relegation. A very generous C. Taylor Harwood-Bellis. What's impressive most about Taylor Harwood-Bellis is his passing, holding onto the ball, blocking and leadership qualities, but he just lacks concentration and his tackling can be a lot better. He's one of the best defenders at Southampton, but this is the worst team, particularly defensively in the league. B-. André joined Wolves following a series of success with Fluminense in Brazil. He seems to be this calm and resilient presence in Wolves midfield with good ball retention despite pressure and link-up play with pinpoint passing. Capable also of carrying the ball and dribbling up the field quite well. His passing accuracy is strong. His defense has been most impressive to me, especially with his tackling. He brings a lot to the table as a young central midfielder for Wolves. A-. Jake O'Brien, another tall defender with aerial presence to add to Everton's defensive line. He was benched in the first half of the season under Sean Dyche and the 4th line defender behind Michael Keane due to lack of experience. But since the arrival of David Moyes, his minutes are up and Jake O'Brien has been a consistent regular starter for Everton. Heading is obviously his biggest strength, including his passing, and his crossing ability has been exploited quite well from the right back position under David Moyes, but his tackling requires a bit of work. Everton have one of the best defences in the league and it's keeping them in the Premier League, so this signing is a B.